Good evening, dear friends. What a show we have. A lot going on. Erika Kirk is going to run for president. Oh, yeah. Sounds crazy, right? You think I'm crazy, don't you? You don't. The case involving Tyler is falling apart. I mean, completely, totally, absolutely, without exception, falling apart. I mean, there is nothing. There is nothing. Next, there's a whole bunch of people out there who are probably asking you, what is with you and this Erika Kirk thing? What is your fascination? Why are you so fascinated about this case involving this little old girl? Well, we're going to be talking about that and a lot of other things. Taking your calls after the hour, everybody. But we're going to be going into it. We're going to be having so much fun, my God. And we're all going to remember that day where this all started, because people are still asking, why this enmity? Why this preoccupation with Erika? Simple. It was the casket scene. We'll talk about that and more coming up. But first, without further ado, this important and critical word from our sponsor. Last year, we talked about Alaska, a powerhouse of mineral wealth with a long track record of responsible development. Now it's back in focus with support from the Department of Defense and Department of Energy and the reopening of the Ambler Road project under President Trump. Momentum is building fast. Vizsla Copper, trading as VCUFF in the U.S. and VCU in Canada, has taken a major step forward. The company now owns 100% of the Palmer project, a high-grade asset believed to hold billions in ground value. It was even named by Alaska's governor in a memo to the White House as a priority for domestic critical minerals. And here is the headline. Washington just rolled out over $42 billion in support for critical minerals in early 2026 alone. We have seen this before. Similar backing sent other Alaska explorers up over 200%. Vizsla trades at a fraction of that value. Bottom line, America is rebuilding its mineral supply chain and domestic supply is winning. Big thanks to Vizsla Copper for making today's video possible. Let me ask you something. Maybe you've had this happen, maybe not, but I've had some folks. Sometimes they'll weigh in and they'll say, "What are you yapping about regarding Erika Kirk?" And I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. It's like in the old days when people would say, why is this O.J. Simpson case so fascinating? Have you had that happen? And I guess that if you have to ask, I really don't even want to know you. I don't even want to even explain this to you, because this happens to be one of the greatest true crime stories and spectacles in I don't know how long, because there's so many levels to it. And there's so much stuff, so much great stuff involving not only there's the case itself, there's the actual courtroom stuff. Wonderful questions regarding, this gets really interesting regarding the idea of a request for speedy trial when you're not ready for trial because of the delay of the prosecution. You see, there's one thing about speedy trial, and nobody really wants it except for Erika. By the way, she wants this to be, she wants this got to be finished, railroaded, rode hard and put up wet. You know it, I know it, and we all know that. So let's stop pretending that we don't understand, or we're confused, or we're surprised or shocked. We know what's happening. We got it. We understand it. But here's the issue which I find most interesting. Maybe you can help me with this. If the defense claims that basically the delay is caused by the FBI, later on, they would be hard-pressed if they wanted to claim speedy trial. This may sound a bit arcane, but it works like this. Normally, you do not waive speedy trial because you want to see if the prosecution is slow enough to not bring it to trial within 180 days from taking it into custody or whatever it is. Sometimes you want to sit back. Speedy trial is something that a lot of jurisdictions have per statute. And what it means is they have X amount of days to bring you to trial. And if you keep quiet, and if you say, hey, guess what? It's been 6 months. It's been 180 days since the arrest. Guess what? Your Honor, we move for motion for discharge because of the speedy trial rule. we never waived it. It happens rarely, but it has happened. So you don't want a speedy trial, but you don't want to waive it in the event you live in a state that has this automatic dismissal if you're not brought to trial within that amount of time. Does that make sense to you? Good. Now, what happens is, which is interesting, if you waive speedy trial yourself, you can't later blame the prosecution for not bringing you to trial within the amount of time. You can waive it outright. You can ask for a continuance, which means you are not ready for trial. When you're not ready for trial, you cannot claim that your speedy trial right was violated. And as long as you don't evince or indicate any kind of indication that you're not ready for trial, for example, by saying, we're not ready for trial, asking for a continuance, or if the state makes you say you're not ready for trial because they've been slow in producing and reproducing and providing for you the evidence you need to investigate your case, like the ATF and FBI reports as to ballistics and DNA and the like. Does that make sense? That makes sense? You got it? Because here's the issue. This is the right now they're saying, where is our evidence? Where are the lab results? Where is this? It's unbelievable. Now, this is not going to rouse people's passions, except those of us who are paying very close attention to this. So that is this. Number two, I don't want to necessarily bring up to speed people, other names. Everybody has a right to, you understand this, everybody has a right to be who they want to be and think whatever they want. But there's a woman named Liz Wheeler. And Liz Wheeler was under the understanding, I guess, that somehow they linked or connected Tyler's rifle. You understand this? Tyler's rifle with the weapons. They're somehow doing this. They're showing you. They're trying to show you. I guess they're trying to bring up to speed that there was some type of, I guess what you would call some form of, I don't know, connection that was made when there wasn't any connection made whatsoever. Now, I don't know what her story is. Again, I don't know. She's free to. I kind of know who she is. Yeah. But why is it that people are so determined to have Tyler Robinson convicted? Answer that for me. I don't want to have somebody scapegoated. I don't want to have a patsy. I want the real killer, the real shooter, the real conspirators brought to justice. I don't have any feeling one way or another towards Tyler. Why do people feel this connection? Why? I guess, is it because of Candace? Of course. Is it because anything I can do to make Candace squirm or to make her embarrassed or to confound or contradict what she's saying? Is that it? And speaking of which, again, I don't normally bring this up, but I must ask you, what is with Laurel Loomer going after our Candace? Why is it? It's one thing for you to say Candace doesn't know what she's talking about. Candace is wrong. Candace might be, all right, maybe she's biased or whatever. But to attempt to bring up things about how they may or may not hold real estate or a trust, whether they live together, why is there this, please, why is there this hate? Hate. Maybe I missed something. Maybe people were going after Laura Loomer in her personal life, her dating life, her married life, her sexual life, or whatever. I didn't see that. I don't think that's relevant. I don't know anything about it. I don't really care. But why are they doing this to Candace? Who is putting these people up to besmirch and maybe to to endanger Candace by showing things like how she holds property, where she wants to work with the Macron government. Is that what I'm saying? When did it become so hateful? When did we, why is that? I don't think anything's going to happen with Laura Loomer, with the Candace and the Macron case. That's going to go nowhere for a variety of reasons. That thing's going to be dismissed with prejudice. There'll be some kind of non-disclosure, something. I don't know what it is. That's just going to go bye-bye. But what do you think that is? Where does this come from? How does this happen? Have I missed it? And I don't want to sit around and call Laura Loomer making fun of how she looks, and how do I care about that? I don't really care. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I know she's very, very strong, very, very active regarding certain issues regarding Israel and Zionism. That's fine, which is her right. Absolutely, no problem with that. That is her. But why the hatred? I don't understand this. This is demented. This is depraved. There's something very, 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 very wrong with what's going on right now. Now, the other move that's happened, which we're seeing right now, is and I know, and if you watch the video I did before, and I know that it appears very, very certain. And I know you're going to laugh at this. Erika is going to run for president. Let me ask you, is that possible? Is it possible? Erika Kirk running for president. You think so? You think so? Hear me out. What do you think? Who says no? Who says no? Who says no way? No way. Now, I'm not saying somebody says, I will never vote. Oh, no. That, please, that goes without saying. That goes without saying. Of course it does. I want you to answer the question. Do you think it will happen? Will she run for president? Will she have an exploratory committee? Yes. Will she run? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I want you to make an argument why she should run. You know there's a selfish part of me that wants her to run, right? You know that, right? You understand that? There's a part of me, very selfish, who wants her to run because this is the greatest thing that ever happened to anybody. This is the most beautiful thing in the world. This is incredible. Now think what happens. Why do you think it would make the most sense? First, very, very simple. And I want you to answer the question, and I don't want you to respond negatively. I don't want you to just come out with this, which, of course, you're not going to do that. But she is magic. She is magic. Now, maybe not in a good way. Maybe not the way that most people think of when they see magic. She is absolutely, positively, without peer in terms of her ability to come forward and to garner attention. She would blow this thing apart. Okay? She cannot say, listen to me, she cannot say anything, go anywhere, speak anything, mumble anything without everybody screaming and yelling and taking everything that she's saying and cutting it down, stripping it, scraping it, reviewing it, talking about it, commenting on it. Now, I'm not saying this is good. I'm not saying this she's good or I'm going to vote for it. No. I'm telling you, if you think today, name the people. Name, of course, there's Candace. Candace is, I think, the most powerful person. By the way, I'm not doing this just out of some kind of sycophancy or some type of, I'm not just extolling her virtues out of some kind of weird patella reflex. I'm saying it because I believe it. I think she is the most powerful person. Joe Rogan might be the most popular in terms of numbers, but in terms of power, no. Nobody. Put it this way. There are people who like Joe Rogan. I do too. Always been a fan. But people love Candace. You hear what I'm saying? You understand the difference? You understand this? See what I'm saying? The reason why Candace is so important, and I'm telling you, I've said this about Trump. People get upset with me. I will tell you, I know how to read it. Certain things just make sense. By the way, thank you for the like and subscribe. The liking is very, very critical. I appreciate that. But what I'm telling you is that, and it may confound you. Candace Owens is loved. Do you understand that? Loved. My wife and I were watching Hacks. Have you seen Hacks on HBO? It's kind of interesting. We saw that, what is her name from Designing Women? We saw her on Broadway. She's very, very good. The older woman. I forget her name. And there was a scene where she had her friends. They were called, I forget her name. I was kind of like half paying attention, half not. But the point is she had this group of people that loved her. People love Candace. They trust Candace. They admire Candace. It's like the way people felt about Charlie, more so with Candace. Candace is everything that people admired about Trump. Candace cannot be cowed. She can't be frightened. She can't be shut down. She doesn't back down. She comes back louder, stronger than ever. It's great to watch. It's like watching Mike Tyson in his prime. It's like watching, she is going to devastate people. She picks her battles very carefully. She doesn't just say anything for the sake of saying anything. I think it's never personal. And if it even remotely looks like it's because you really said something about her, she has to return the favor or else she looks weak. But I'm telling you right now, in my episodes, I remember one time in radio, people loved Rush Limbaugh. I worked with him. I know what I'm talking about. They loved him. People didn't feel the way about Stern. People didn't feel the way about Imus. I mean, they liked his show, but they didn't love him. In fact, they felt that maybe these people were not really that close. I can think of anybody who has that. Keanu Reeves has a little bit of that. People love him because they see something unique about him. They like this, they just love these people. Not, listen to what I'm saying. Not in terms of their power or their star power, but who they are. Nobody compares to Candace Owens in terms of how they love her. They love what she does. They love her family. They love what she does. They love her. They love everything about her. Everything about her. And I'm not just saying that. They like her. And that's something which is the hardest thing in the world. When people like her, they like her and love her and respect her. Okay, that aside. Okay, just put that up. This is what people don't understand. Nobody has that today. Nobody. There's nobody has that. Think about it. Nobody. Now, what's interesting, which is the most important part, which I find most fascinating, is as follows. Erika is the heel. In professional wrestling term, she is the heel. Nobody likes her. Nobody likes her. Nobody feels warm towards her. Nobody admires her. They quote like what she's doing because she represents the antagonist to Candace, but nobody likes her. There's no there. There's nothing to hang on to. You don't like her as a woman or a mother or a person or a conservative or a Christian or nothing. There's nothing there. She is the heel. She is the person who shows up. She is the Alexis on Dynasty. She's the heel. In professional wrestling, baby faces were the good guys. But the heel is what you really, this is what put fannies in the seats. It's the heel, the bad guy, the scary guy. There was in professional wrestling years ago, around the 80s, right around the Iran case. Sergeant Slaughter against the Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik was the heel like you cannot believe. It was, they actually exploited the hostages and the Sergeant Slaughter. It was people, I'm telling you, there was nothing like it. And I know, but you're going to say, well, that's not real. You may not think it's real, but it's a rivalry. It's like, for example, well, is baseball real? Is the Yankees and Red Sox real? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But what Erika does is she brings something which is you love, forgive me, to hate her. And I don't mean hate her. You don't hate her. You don't wish her ill. That's not what I'm saying. But the persona, you know that everything she says, she's going to say something that drives you nuts. She is going to say something. She's going to absolutely say something, which is the most important thing in the world. She is going to drive you crazy. Doctora says words that describe Erika: vacuous, vapid, inarticulate, ethically corrupt, morally bankrupt, duplicitous. Those are very, very good words. Very, very good words. And I appreciate that. May I tell you what the words are? And if you sat down with her, she would be very upset by this. She would be very, very upset if you told her this, because she'd be very, very, what am I trying to say? She'd be surprised, but not really. If I sat with her and if I said, you're not going to like this, but you are one of the most important people today in the internet, and it only exists here. You owe everything to Candace Owens. Everything. You would not be around today without Candace Owens. You would not be anything without her. You would not be. Nobody brought it out. Nobody. She highlighted what you are. And you're not going to like this, Erika, I would tell her. It's not because you're beautiful. No. I'm not saying you're not beautiful. I'm just saying it has nothing to do with it. It's not about your looks, not about your sexiness. No. You mention your name on anything, I promise you. Look at Twitter, or X, and you just see what's trending. If your name shows up, they absolutely go through the roof. Not because they like you, but because you bring heat. Using the wrestling term, you bring heat. You bring the controversy. They love the fact that you are not, that you're damaged. You're insincere, you're phony, you're not real. And they want to see what you're going to do next, which is not sincere, which is not real, which is phony. That's what they want to see. Absolutely, positively. Now, I know you don't want that. I know you don't want that. I know you don't want that. But that's precisely it. You are something that is, we could not. I'm trying to think about them. Remember Leona Helmsley? Leona Helmsley was here. She was the one who said only poor people pay taxes or something like that. They didn't like her, but she kind of scared people because she was very rich, very powerful, very scary. Nobody's afraid of Erika, so they go near her. She doesn't scare people. She's funny because she doesn't know. It's like somebody who doesn't know they're a bad singer, or somebody who doesn't know they're a bad, I don't know what the word is. Kamala Harris, to an extent, sort of like that, but this is different. So what's happening right now, what I'm trying to tell you, is that she is so terrific. She is so phenomenal that if she came out and said, would you vote for me? You would see people come out of the woodwork. Look at who's backing J.D. Vance. Palantir, Google, Adelson, the usual suspects. He is it. He has a veritable who's who of everybody You don't want respect. He is his donor list says it all. I mean, says everybody who's for him is your enemy. Everybody. When I say your enemy, I'm using these terms very loosely, but I'm trying just for purposes of simplicity. Now, who do you think would back Erika? Who? Who would back her? Who would donate to her? Who? Where do you think she would? Guess. Where? Guess. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Tell me. And by the way, remember something. And I want you to notice something. Whenever you see people who come forward and they say terrible things about Candace, remember something. This is a testament to her fame. She drives people crazy. Candace goes into the core and she's so popular, so loved, so powerful. It's killing them. Laura Loomer, again, no, I don't have any beef with her one where I don't really know that much about her. Go ahead. She's like a sparring partner. Candace says, bring it on. In fact, this will be terrific because of all the people, put it this way. If you want somebody to be the voice of somebody who's against you, you would want Laura Loomer because she frankly scares people sometimes. And from Alabama says, thoughts on Tyler's defense lawyer. She butchered a case I watched months ago. You know, I don't know. I'm always I'm always rather loath to attack lawyers. We'll see what she is. We're going to give her a chance. This is a very easy one not to butcher, by the way. Van Anken says, not even Erika's mom would back her. Oh, no. Laurie Franz, oh, no. Who would back? Seriously, who would back? Who would back her? Who would set up more PACs and secret money and donations? Who would do it? Who? Democrats. People who want to destroy MAGA. And by the way, I don't know if there's a MAGA. I don't know. They make MAGA out to be this contingent, this consortium, this cadre of Trump fans. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if President Trump really has a cadre. I really don't. I don't know. I'm not sure about that anymore. But either way, I'd put the money towards her so that she can go in and she can basically split the conservatives apart. She wants to make them popular. She wants to take away. People are going to say, you're not a conservative. Oh, yes, you are. Yes, I am. No, you're not. You're a joke. I'm not a joke. I promise you, they would come out. There are people who, honest to God, love her because she's popular and she has a negative magnetism. They feel this connection to her, not because they like her, they respect her, but she represents something. She is what hates. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Anybody that they'll tell you, well, Candace hates her. She must be doing something right. I would absolutely split this vote in half. I would do this. She's going to get more. She's going to get every conservative think tank, everybody, because that's a vote against Candace. That is a vote against Candace. And eventually Candace is going to say, one day, somebody's going to say, okay, we've had enough of this. Let's really go after her. But I mean this. And that's why we have to stand by ready to go for this. Because somebody's going to say, she's getting too powerful. She is getting too powerful. And I'm not suggesting physical harm. I'm not going there. Because I got to say one thing about this. Some people love to say, oh, physical harm. Sometimes when you predict something, you actually want it. You encourage it. You invite it by making a big deal of it. You say it so much. And so I don't even like saying it. I don't even want to discuss this. But Laura Loomer, they're sending her after Candace. Say, you're going to be our attack dog. Okay, fine. And she says, I'll do it. So she's the one going after Erika. Big mistake. You don't want to send Laura Loomer after her. You go with somebody else, somebody who is a little bit more, somebody who is smoother, somebody who doesn't have this trail of, like, you don't want a Ben Shapiro or one of those folks. You don't want to, even a TP USA, or you don't want that. You want somebody who's maybe calm, a little bit more attractive, not physically per se. I mean, that might be nice, but I mean, somebody who's not, who doesn't come across like some fire-breathing, seething lunatic. Remember, this is going to get war. She's going to need us. She's going to need us absolutely like you cannot believe. I'm telling you. They're not going to sit back and just let her get, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. They're going to try to do something. They're going to have to, and remember, it always inures to her benefit whenever they do this, but they're going to come after her big time because she is that powerful. And she is becoming, she's able, not only is she powerful, but if she says, go here, we will say, okay, not because we're lemmings, not because we're robots, but because we believe in her. And if she needs our help, we'll be there. Erika doesn't have that. But Erika is so powerful. Let me tell you something. Ask yourself a question. If you had two particular links to go to, let's say you look at X, you see two stories trending, Candace and Erika, which one would you go to first? Which one? Did she expose pictures of Charlie's coffin? This is the picture of her. This is the picture of her, those famous, those creepy coffin shots. If you mean she, truth seekers and Candace supporters don't care about the silly midterms or worthless elections anymore. I think you're right about that. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to say this is, I think you're absolutely right. But that's so scary. Because let me tell you something. This is the most important thing in the world. If you have a blowout, and if you have the bad people running it, it hurts everybody. I'm with you on this one. I'm with you 100%. I have never felt so close to saying, I can't vote for anybody. I cannot vote for J.D. Vance. I cannot. It's a joke. I know exactly what I'm going to get. He is such a wimp. He let Bibi Netanyahu push him around? No. That was your chance. I'm not saying, be rude, but for the president also, nobody to pick up the phone and tell Bibi, don't you ever say that we report to you. We didn't report to anybody. How dare you say that? So anyway, who am I going to vote for? Name one person. Seriously, who? And I don't mean somebody that you like. I don't mean somebody like, one person, Kent or somebody who said something. No, that's not enough to vote for somebody. To vote for somebody doesn't mean you really like them. It means you like the platform, you like the policy, you like the party, you like the movement, you like the momentum. It's not just you like them. It's what they bring to the floor with. Who would you vote for? I don't see anybody. Nobody. Absolutely. Joe Kent is not necessarily able to be president. Massey, not able to be president. I like what he said here, but to be the president? See, this is a different story. Don't let somebody fool you. Carlson, never. Tucker, never. I would never vote for, or would ever want to see Candace. It neutralizes you. It throws you off. DeSantis, I think, is very interesting. Somebody asked, very interesting. He plays the headlines, but you have got to get away from having foreign countries own you. It's that simple. It's the ex-mayor of New York, Eric Adams, became an Albanian citizen. Why? Do they have an extradition treaty? Is that it? Jamie says, what a shame. After 4 years of Biden and now this. What happened to my golden years? Trump talked about? I don't know. It's not too late for Trump to be to save this. But when he's talking about this new, he wants to, again, liquefy, pulverize, destroy Iran. You can't do this. No, I'm saying we don't have anything. Who? The worst thing, Candace Owens will be neutralized if she ever ran for office or became neutralized. Because the first thing you do once you get involved in it, then you get into the rat race of party politics and raising and fundraising, and then you have people who try to work against you, and then you might have a minority. If you don't have a minority in the House or the Senate, what are you going to do? You're going to be you're almost like a lame duck. No. I am telling you, the least important person in the world today is the President of the United States. Absolutely, positively. It's not what you think it is. Not what you think it is. Not what you think it is. What Candace can do more than anything else, which is so critical. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, somebody said that. You know what? She knows a little bit about how the system works. She is, I don't want to say expendable, but she is somebody who can take on the fight and kind of like it. She's got to make sure that she is able to, if she's bulletproof enough, so to speak, in terms of her past. I don't know what happened with her husband, with the divorce. I don't know what kind of, I'm serious. I don't know what I don't know if they're going to make her life a living hell. But she definitely. The number one thing we have to realize just before we get it, this is very important. And why I'm telling you, Erika is important. Erika is she's the best heel anybody's ever seen. There is nobody. People are trying desperately to, put it this way, I'm not going to mention any names, but if Erika went away, but if she just said, you know what, I'm going to take a year off, be with my family, there would be some channels that would have nothing to say. They really don't know anything. They don't know anything. Some channel, God bless them, they live on telling you what somebody else said about somebody else. They are generators. They package. Tulsi Gabbard might be something. Pete Hegseth, never. Joe Kent shows guts and integrity. Pete, and watch a big fall for Kash Patel real fast. Real fast. I mean, they know how to play him. He loses his mind. He's out basically telling. He might be the one Trump might say, I want you to step down. I don't need you. Somebody's going to come to him. Susie Wiles will say, Mr. President, I'm glad that Pam Bondi's gone. Pam Bondi took a lot of heat away from the Epstein case. Remember that. With no Bondi, there's no, it takes the heat away. The same thing happened with Bongina. He took a lot of the heat away, so to speak. Kash Patel is absolutely, he's got to go. They say he's drinking too much. He's acting like a little bitch, screaming and yelling and threatening to sue people. Government suing people? The head of the FBI. J. Edgar Hoover never threatened me. They were saying everything about J. Edgar Hoover, from he was wearing a dress or he was gay to this. And Clyde Tolson. Clyde Tolson was his lover. His lover. They would go on vacation together. He said, I don't care about you. He didn't care. He made it. It was a different world then. Kash Patel's going to sue? What are we talking about here? So that's over. I mean, that's over here. But let me tell you something. I don't know who's out there. I don't know who. Mike Johnson is bought and sold by big tech. Let me explain something to you. Listen to me. If you think that AIPAC runs Congress, runs this country, they're very powerful. Nothing like big tech. Nothing. Did you hear about Palantir now once they get into air traffic control? Palantir? Did you hear what I said? Do you want to be on a plane where air traffic control is based upon predictive programming? That's coming up right now. They own it. And J.D. Vance owns it. Big tech is the only existential threat to our civilization. Not Iran, not Hezbollah, not Al-Qaeda, none of that. None of that. The biggest threat to us, the biggest, is AI and AGI. It is unbelievable. Have you heard about this notion called the Q day or Q apocalypse, where quantum computing, and they say, oh, it's far off. If it ever gets to the point where it can brute force, ham-fisted, basically de-encrypt or break encryption codes, we're through. They're corralling. What they're doing is they're harvesting all of these records, all of these files, all of these encryption barriers. They're putting them aside for some quantum computer to be able to handle it later on. They're taking it and they're putting it in like on hold or freeze. When singularity hits, as Kurzweil predicts, when singularity hits, when man and AGI collide, and AGI, artificial general intelligence, surpasses that singularity, it's over. It's done. Kiss it goodbye. Done. When this Q apocalypse or this quantum computing, it's there. It's going to happen. Nothing can be encrypted. Do you know what the world is without encryption? Do you have any idea what this is? Anything? No. Imagine a world with no locks, no security. We are facing things, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, look who it is. It's German Shep Loki. Thank you so much. Welcome, a new member. Stop for 1 second. I hope this isn't too dry, because this is huge. This is the stuff that should keep you up at night. Not Iran. What a bunch of bullshit that is. Come on. Hezbollah? Really? Oh, Cleveland's going to be worried about? Stop it. This is something that nobody ever imagined. And the people like Sam Altman, look at this guy. You ever seen Sam Altman? He makes a mannequin look like Rip Taylor. This guy is devoid of all humanity. There's a new form of, I don't know if they're autistic or I don't know what the word is, but these people have no semblance of any kind of humanity. And that's maybe one of the reasons why Candace is so good, because she's funny and she's smart and she can riff and she can talk about things. She breaks into a song or Erika, nothing. Nothing. Let me ask you something. What do you know about Candace? A lot. She's got 4 kids, right? Husband, this and that. Again, lives in Nashville. Theo Vaughn's her neighbor. Going on. You know who, by the way, when I was talking to him, who speaks very, very highly, apparently knows her well and lives, I guess, near her in the same city, is Baron Coleman. Says she is speaking with her. This is off the air. He says, speaking with her, it amazes him at how smart she is and how encyclopedic her knowledge is. She's a human being. She's somebody you could joke with. She's somebody who would get it. She's somebody I could imagine being on a bus trip next to, or I'd have to, but imagine Erika? What do you know about her? Nothing. Nothing. I mean, you know a lot about her provenance, but you don't know, there's no connection there. Do you know her? No. Same thing was like in the old days with Nixon. Same thing where there are some people you just never, how do I say this? You never connected to these folks. Never. So she's powerful. But Erika, Erika is, you have no idea. I'm a frustrated chef and physicist and physician and psychiatrist, but psychoanalyst. Very Freudian. And I would love to, as they say, get her on the couch. I would love to sit back, and I would love to have her on the, you know why the couch works, right? Because when you sit back and you're looking up, you're able to access portions of your memory and your personality, unlike anything anybody's ever seen. It's important that you do this. You actually sit back and you look up, and it's not cliche. It's really, you think differently. It's like when you lie in a field and you look up at the stars, or it puts you in a different framework. But the question I would love to ask Erika is very, very simple. And it will be, the way analysis works is you let people start to talk. And you let them, they're back, and they start going. I'm convinced there is no Erika there. There is no Erika. Erika never was allowed to develop. She was immediately, either by virtue of her own instance, maybe her mother, maybe Laurie Franz, or any of those other folks, but she was trying to find, where am I? Am I going to be the reality show contestant? Am I going to be the secret agent? Am I going to be the businesswoman? Am I going to be the entrepreneur with Romanian orphanages? Am I going to go to China? Am I going to be a business? Am I going to... What came at the very last, the Christian thing. You notice that? It came at the very last. During all of her incarnations, all of her development, she never went, the Christian never came up. Never. Charlie was legit. She said, oh yeah, fine. She and Laurie Franz, when they were in, was it Israel, I think? They probably said, that's the guy. He'll do. He'll do. He's powerful. He's got money. He'll do. We're not being picky. We're not picky. We're getting older, getting long in the tooth, and we don't have a lot of time here. He'll do. Do you really think, answer me a question. Ladies, I want the ladies here, okay? I want the ladies to answer a question. Do you think, all things being equal, you saw Erika's old boyfriends. Do you think Charlie's her type? Yes or no? Do you think so? Do you think so? Do you? Do you think, ladies, because men do you think that she looked at Charlie and said, that's the kind of guy I want? Do you think, who is the guy that she would like? If ever there was somebody that Erika needed, if ever you had to pick, if all things being equal, let's assume she, it was money and, whatever it is, but she could say, okay, let me go after who is my ideal. Let's say they're all equally rich. Would it be Charlie? Charlie was kind of, I think the world of him. I thought the world of him. He's a little goofy. You know what I mean? He's just a regular kind of guy. He's just an ordinary person, brutally smart, absolutely, I think, honest to a fault, but very not conniving, not a womanizer, not experienced, not, no. How about if you said, Charlie, how many, during the course of your life, how many, how do I say this, Charlie? How many, and I'm only asking you this question because how many women have you been with? Roughly. I don't want a number. I'm just, There's two answers to this. The first one is 3. See that? 3. That's where we answer the question. 3. The other one's like this. That answers my question. Charlie would not be that category. Charlie would not be that category. Sorry. And I would hope that everybody who has a male in their life understands something. I hope they would get to the point where they would say to their sons, I don't want you to go out there and I want you to be reckless, but I want you to get a dare I say, a taste, a smattering, a sampler of what we're talking about. And the reason why is not because I want you to become sexually active, but I want you to understand the commonality and how I don't want you to have this romanticization about the fact that you've got to go out and score and conquer women out of some kind of indication or personification of your manhood or whatever it is. I see a lot of guys my age and younger who go through these middle-aged crazies, and all of a sudden they leave their wife because they think somehow that they don't have it anymore, and that this young gal can somehow cement their self-image or what they want the world to think of them, and they throw it all away, and you realize you gave it up for nothing. What did you think this was? Seriously, look at her. Does she have some unique accoutrement bodily? No. Is there anything about this that you found any perhaps experience or position or talent that you really... No. No. Because only somebody who's been around will say, I've seen that. And it's basically the same. Not the same, but it's the personality. Does that make... I'm Driving Fester says, why are we so addicted to the conspiracy? Because deep in our heart, we all know this is not right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me say this again, by the way, which is the most important thing in the world. I know it's going to be misunderstood, and I know I'm going to try it again, because I know no matter how I try to explain this, it's going to be misunderstood. When people find themselves sometimes settling down too early, or happenstance, maybe they were a late bloomer, maybe when they were young they didn't have the same opportunity. Then later on, when they get older, all of a sudden, sometimes like women are like, wow, look at this, I'm really special. No, you're not special. No. They can kind of romanticize. Maybe they feel their own virility being so maybe they say, I've got to go out, I got to get a young girl to make me feel good, to remind them. You've seen this before. It's the saddest thing in the world. They'll get a tube, they'll work out. Have you seen the ones doing steroids? The men who always want to tell you how many push-ups they can do. Sound familiar? Michelle Armstrong says, Lionel, in your opinion, what do you think has happened with Charlie's family? Why haven't we heard from them? I have no idea. They could be, I'm thinking, either frightened. A deal was made where you get to, you can raise the kids, or maybe they're paid off or something. I don't know. I could just hazard a guess. But I don't know. I do not know. Those kids I worry about more than anything else. They need stability. They need right now to understand, are you sure you're okay with this? Yes. Because if a child goes through the trauma of losing a parent like this, it can remain unresolved, and for the rest of their life, they can feel, and I know what you're going to say, that's crazy, responsible for this. Kids, by the way, any divorced folks here? You don't have to raise your hand. Any of you feel like you were responsible somehow for your parents' divorce? I know it's not. What does that have to do with it? You'd be surprised. Maybe it was me. Maybe I was a problem. Maybe, who knows? Kids are not able to cement their feelings. And it's abandonment. When a child goes through divorce or the absence of a parent, and by the way, orphaned is a whole other story. But when a parent, how do I say this? They will construct scenarios that don't really make any sense, but they will blame themselves. And that's why when I've spoken to folks, young people, and you're going out and you're thinking about maybe marrying somebody, you must do a little bit of a deep dive here, especially women. And the reason why women is very important, because of father. Mother, this is very generalized. Please forgive me. Mother is so cemented because you come from her. You and your mother are one and the same. You are one and the same. Genetically, so to speak, physiologically, mothers can be awful. They can abandon. They can do terrible things. But the most important issue, the most important figure in a little girl's life is her father, because this is the first time you say, who's this guy? I know my mother. I got it. My mother kind of loves me. I love them. I got a brother who loves my mother. This is what mothers do. Okay, there, yeah. But who's this guy? That's your father. He was involved, but not really. And your father really likes you. And that is how a young girl, in particular, cements with, oh, this is what men are. Because when a woman, as a young girl, feels like that particular part of her life was ruined, not ruined, but eliminated or not there, she will always go looking for it. She will look for it. She will try to find that portion. She doesn't even realize it. What am I looking for? Stability, a place, and the idea that I have satisfied, I have accompanied the position of 100% love vis-a-vis a man, my father. I don't have to do anything. I'm worthy. I'm great. I'm beautiful. I'm talented. He loves me. I'm terrific. That's what you want. And anything short of that, she will always go looking for that. And there was a sense of abandonment. It's like that tree that you keep it straight, but it might go like this for a little bit, and then you go, oh, and then you straighten it up. Eventually it'll straighten up, but there's always that one part. It's critical. So those kids in particular had their fathers taken away from them in a way that it's not even supposed to happen ever. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm telling you, going back to what I was saying, it's funny when I listen to Candace, and by the way, when people say this to me, when a woman says, somebody said to me the other day, because they heard this grandpa thing, they said, grandpa, doesn't that bother you? I said, what are you talking about? I said, this is the greatest thing in the world. Don't you understand what that is? He goes, because you look like a grandpa. I say, no, I mean, yeah, maybe, but that's not it. Don't you understand what this is? Because men are so stupid. Don't you understand what this is? I said, you know when a woman tells you, reminds you of her grandfather, you know what that is? This is the greatest man she's ever known. She feels safe with you. She feels like you're going to protect her. Like you're not going to turn on her. You're not going to go south. Grandpas never do that. Grandpas never go away. You don't divorce your grandparents. No. It's one of the greatest things ever. So when a person tells you that, it's funny. Women tell me that, not men. It's different. It's a different dynamic. This goes back to the whole thing about men and women. If you don't recognize this thing, if you don't understand this, that when a child, so much of who you are, your personality and what your life is, it is cemented. And that's why the most important thing in the world is to absolutely, positively, 100% marinate kids with love so that later on, somebody said they get real juicy later. Doctora Latina says, a wonderful father sets the bar high. He shows his daughter how she should be treated by other men. Yes. And a sense of you are never going to, you must understand something. You must be, a father has to tell a daughter, now listen to me. Men, it's like having a dog. Some dogs are wonderful. Some breeds are very dangerous. Some breeds can snap at you, can go violent on you. They can hurt you, harm you. Be very careful. Don't turn your back on them. Know how they behave. And know that, be careful when you look at dogs in the eye. Some dogs take that as a threat. And there are some men, little whatever, who look at you as a notch on the bedpost. You're a conquest. And you know what? We can argue why. We can argue why. Maybe, who knows? They're just there. Understand something. And you do not want to be in the position where you have been fed a line of bullshit and then you are tossed aside and you feel used. You do not want that. It will stick with you forever. And 10 women in particular, 10 little girls tend to perseverate and tend to kind of extrapolate that. And you're going to, believe me, you're going to be taken, and you might take, and men are taken too, don't get me wrong, but not like little girls, because you were developed to think more emotionally and not intellectually. Sorry to say that. You're smarter than men, but you think more emotionally. These men are, a 13-year-old boy hit with testosterone is retarded. He's a retarded, he's like an animal. They're not to be trusted. Keep that in mind. Don't lose yourself. Don't lose who you are. There's Louise Brooks, by the way. I like that picture. That looks almost like doesn't that? That looks like something from the, not from a noir period, but like from the, like a flapper. I hope it's not. I mean, I love black and white, and I like the way certain people look in that particular. By the way, thank you for that. Going back to Erika. Erika. She's on the couch. Erika, what do people not understand about you? What does that mean? That means tell me what you think, what you don't understand about yourself. It's a way in. It allows her to answer the question. Oh, I see. Yes, about other people. Right. Tell me, who was the most important man? Tell me about your father. Remember her father? That's it. They said, because I get the impression from my very exceedingly cursory review of this, that the mothers were the sister, was it Jerry, was somebody else, and Lori. These were really kind of like, forgive me, kind of conniving, predatory women who had their men that they used, and this is what she was taught. There's no men. I have seen, in the fact, there was one family where everybody, it was this kind of a matrix setting, but it was women, all aunts, sisters, and no, I think each of them had been married, I don't know how many times, and men were nothing. Men meant nothing. They were just sperm donors, but the women themselves were, that the family unit were the women. It's very interesting. And they never had any connection. They had no sense of what a man was. It was conniving. Well, not conniving. I keep using that word. There is for money, is for power, is for security, that sort of thing. But that's it. Ooh, not good. Not good. Now remember, by the way, it's important also for men. Remember, let's don't turn your back on them. To have sisters. Mothers are one thing. Sisters are another thing. Roughly the same age. You get to say, oh, okay. All right, I got it. Very, very important. The first couple of years, first 12 weeks of life is so critical. It's not even funny. But later on, all of this stuff is happening. But Erika is just, you can see she is trying so hard. Do you see the way she hugs and kisses JD and Trump? You see that? What does that tell you? Ladies, let me ask you something. Did you see it? What did you see? What did you see? What did you see? What did you see the way she acted? What does a man mean to her? She kept Charlie as almost like a token, or like a bag, like an accessory, like an Hermes, like a Birkin or something. You know what I mean? Trump, oh no, that was this. See that? The little girl is like submission. Same thing with JD. Though she grabbed JD by the back of the head. That was a wild one, but that was also with Usha, with the wife. She knows. Remember, this is the way Erika was raised. By the way, when Candace set her mind her grandfather, remember, it's her grandfather. Again, this is the greatest compliment anybody's ever. It's the greatest. Wow. Grandpa. Remember the song by The Judge? Listen to this, Grandpa. Tell me about the good old days. Beautiful. But look at Erika. There's a very real part of me. You ready for this? I'm going to say this and you're going to disagree. I'm not saying I lose sleep over this, but there's a part of me that feels sorry for her. I'm going to say something else, which you're going to really go crazy with. There's a part of me that feels sorry for Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was always stepped over by men her whole life. Never had the chance. Never got. Always. She's smarter than Bill, but she was trained maybe to be diabolical. But he was attorney general, then governor twice, I think, and then president. She sat it out. And then when he left, and then he goes, great. Now, and then here comes Obama. It's not your time. It's not your time. Okay. All right. 2 times. Then they basically got that Senate thing for her when, who was it? It was, I forget her name. She was a congresswoman. Nita Lowey, I think, stepped aside and they gave her that, and the Secretary of State. And then she never had that chance. And then Trump came and walloped her. That was the one that got her, because they told her, you're going to win this. You're going to win it. And when she didn't come out we live right around not too far from the Javits Center. And we knew that when they canceled the fireworks, the Grucci family were these people in New York, very famous. When they canceled the Grucci's, we thought, oh, she lost. She lost. And you remember they wore purple and all this stuff. She's lost. She never did it. She never. Now, granted, she's not somebody I want to know, get to know. But there's a part, I'm always interested in people who lose. How did you handle this? What is this like? I like your particular story. And Erika, that's her story. Candace, good luck trying to find a lot of losing. I mean, I'm sure she's disappointment, yeah, but no. Losing is not a portion of her. Oh, no. They try to set her up, and she bulldozes these people. Look at Ben Shapiro. She cut this guy's balls off so many times. And, by the way, deep down inside, Ben Shapiro, he knows he's a nudge. He knows he never see kind of like. Remember Katie Tur's father, the woman who reached over and said, I'm going to break your back or do something. Remember that? He said, well, they're going to take you on a body bag. He's being threatened by a guy with a wig. Ben never, you know what I'm talking about. He never was thinking, okay, it's Ben. Nobody says, hey, it's Ben Shapiro. It doesn't, nah. It's like sort of a nah. And then you got these other people, by the way, the ones who have to hyper masculinize. Hegseth and Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy, that marriage, don't, I don't know. You're not going to worry about whether it's paper or gold or whatever it is. That Cheryl Hines, This thing is, you know what's going on with that one. If you can't see that, you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. And by the way, she probably knows it. Didn't she get some Georgetown place for $5 million or something just to keep her quiet because he has wandering eyes? He had to keep track of all the women he bedded because there's so many of them. I got a list. Really, just like his uncle and his old man. Something wrong with that. Something wrong with that, which is what I went back to what I was saying before. Charlie Kirk never had that. When he was a young man, he didn't have, I don't think he had a lot of women. I don't think he knew. I think she came along and she probably rocked his world. I'll bet you she learned a few things. And for a guy who said, I mean, he might have been kind of a latent developer. He might have perhaps maybe enjoyed perhaps maybe the finer moments of the flesh later on. And you think, be honest with me, if you looked at Erika, she's been around. That's some talent. You know what I mean? I don't want to be crude like that. But this woman, I'll bet you she's got a series of safe words. She can lasso you and hog tie you and turn your head and cough, and she'll give you the the Cleveland necktie and the God knows what. This one, if you can't read that one, if you can't remember those early pictures of her, those videos with these men, whoever, who's that guy? Who's that? Not Colvin. Who was this guy who was showing his? You think a lot of people in TPUSA know her using the biblical sense? You think you know what I mean? Come on, I know you know this. I'm not being judgmental. I'm telling you the way it is. I would say, Charlie, do you know who this one is? Yeah, okay. You know what you're getting into, right? Okay. Watch what happens. Watch those babies come like that. Watch what happens. You see. Oh, yeah, we've seen this movie before. Because she's not the first person to come up with it. And by the way, can you imagine having Lori as your life coach? This one? Oh my God. Charlie didn't know what hit him. Charlie didn't know what hit him. And I'll bet you one of the reasons, and I'm really going on a limb here, I think one of the reasons why she was so resilient in terms of her ability to appear callous. I don't know if she's callous. I just don't know if she connects like regular people do. Like Candace said, by the way, look up the way Kobe Bryant's wife reacted. It was completely different. Devastation. And I have to be alone. And I don't know, this was her life partner. This was the father of her daughter. They loved, I mean, this was and Kobe's been through a lot, and they've been through a lot, and, you know, his own particular travails. She just, one of the reasons why Erika came back so quickly with her famous Zoom, hey guys, maybe the reason why she did that so fast was because she'd learned, maybe out of some kind of a sense of self-protection, don't get too attached. Maybe she just can't get too attached. This was not somebody, believe me, most people, think about this, your husband was violently removed from you and you're able to meet for a merchandising meeting. How about 6 months later, not 6 days later? And you're trying to keep up the spirits of the people around you. Come on, don't worry about it. Come on, guys. Hey, this is great news. What? It's seriously unbelievable. Okay? So remember something, and I want you to understand this. If you want to see what's happening, you want to vote for somebody, look at the whole pattern. Who they are, what their family is like, what they're like. You looked at President Trump with Melania. We thought different things. We said, okay, fair enough. There were people who, Jimmy Carter and Rosalind were they were a team. Believe it or not, I think George W. Bush and Laura were very close. Very close. George Herbert Walker Bush and what's her name? Barbara Bush. Barbara Bush was tough. She was the tough one. Oh, big time. Big time. Interesting. Nixon and his wife, Pat. I want you to go back. I want you to look and see when Pat Nixon died first. Nixon lost his mind in grief. Do yourself a favor. Go back and look for that. Nixon, they thought the coldest, closest to a psychopath, unfeeling, brutal, ruthless. Remember, in his later age, watch this. That's not Erika. That's the opposite. Watch Nixon. I've never seen, it's almost makes you uncomfortable. You've seen this, a man just leveled by grief. Have you ever known grief? How many of you have known grief? I'm driving Fester says, question by now, our government isn't going to bring her into questioning like they would everyone else. Will we ever know the truth? No. Question is, by the way, and thank you, by the way, the question is do you think that Erika is going to be called to testify? Are they stupid enough to do that? And how would you cross-examine Erika? Baron and I had a good time with that one. I say, leave this alone. Leave this alone. Have you ever known this, by the way? You know what grief is, what it does to you? It's a feeling that Only humans. Well, strike that. It's loss. It's bereavement. It's a loss, but it's the sorrow. It's this idea that a part of you is gone. It's died. It's gone. She didn't have that. Did you ever see the movie Black Fin? Did you ever see this? The orcas, bottlenose, killer whales, and dolphins. We have dolphins and porpoises also. They are cetacean. And cetaceans have a greater developed paralimbic system. They have a sense of loss. They mate for life. They remain in pods their entire life, these units. And when you go and you take away a baby, there's this one scene where the mother is howling. You can hear it. It's the most brutal. I will not go to SeaWorld. I cannot be a part of that. I cannot. Circuses say I can't do it. It's just humans have that. Did you ever see an elephant who has his or her mother with the baby, with the calf? It's dead. And she's just trying to wake it, and it won't leave it. Won't leave. They will stay. They know this. There's a sense of loss. It's wild. And you think something that doesn't seem to be that how do I say that I mean it's an animal, but you would think we think loss and sorrow are higher order. That's just not necessarily. We always drive by this funeral home or this cemetery. And I think cemeteries are the most barbaric thing I've ever seen in my life. I despise them. I despise them. And I told Mrs. L, no cemetery for me. I have said from the beginning that something is broken in Erika. Very good. Excellent. She doesn't feel normal emotions. That's why she is off on everything she does. Absolutely. Off. Not there. Something's missing. Something was moved. You're right about that. And the thing about it is that most people, by virtue of their own life, they can say, I'm not going to be a part of this amount of people. I'm not going to let people see this because I'm not going to make my feelings aware. I'm going to hide it. Her main thing is to be famous and loved. She wants this. Have you ever been famous? Now, there's different degrees of it. There's Mick Jagger famous, and then there's, by the way, how about that Jordan Peterson? Isn't that something about this? Was his akinesia or this horrible neurological? I feel sorry for him. I don't particularly care for his work, but it's horrible. Anyway, but there's Mick Jagger, and then there's Jordan Peterson, and then there's Tulsi Gabbard, and then maybe down here, maybe you can be the guy in your famous first baseman for your team, or your local weatherman, or something. There's this level. All it means is more people know who you are than other people. That's all. So when you walk down, when you go into a mall, people will not stop you unless they know you. You never walk in and say, "Hey, how do you know me?" "Oh, from your work." What? That's the only thing about being famous. It's a terrible word, but you know what I'm talking about. Jasmine Stroman says, my ex-husband died when our son was 4. Oh my God. I was so grief-ridden at the loss. I knew my son would suffer. I couldn't even think of it without losing it. Unbelievable. When you say ex-husband, were you, I'm just curious, were you, how long ago, if I might ask, how long ago was this? When you say when your ex-husband died, it sounds like you were divorced and then he died. So you have is that right? Am I reading this right? Because you would have said my husband died and our son was 4. You said my ex-husband died. So it sounds like you were divorced first and then he died. So this is a double thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a half my chats are not getting through. Like a poor German, bless her heart. You know what? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. You got to write a word. It doesn't like the word. Our friend Sparky, he couldn't write good. He had to write doog. And what if you're dyslexic and you already write backwards? Anyway, but little kids having to figure this out. See, yes, we have been divorced for 2 years. This was my son's father. Yeah, that's where the grief came from. Oh, yes. And by the way, I'm just curious. You were divorced for 2 years. I don't know how. I should be asking these questions, but how old your son was, or how many years ago it was? Because it depends on how old you are. It depends upon how old you are, and also, you know, when you got to explain to a kid death, it normally starts with a pet. That's the problem. There's that pet thing. Still here, like a German. I'm still here. I love you all. They won't let me talk. But I love you. I'm not trying to say anything that bad. They won't let me talk. What is this country we're living in? What is this? What could you possibly be saying that somebody said, oh, no. Is that German lady? Oh, no. Watch her. Watch what she says. She goes berserk. Be careful with that. In any event, no, death is all that. All right. This is one of those things where, how do we say this? You will never be able to explain to a kid, where'd they go? And what do? You tell them things like, normally it's a pet. You have a pet. You have the dog that dies. And your dog, and horrible. And you have to explain to your son or daughter where the pet went. And you can say all kinds of things. You can say things like, well, now he's going to be with all the other babies and the puppies in heaven, and Jesus wants a puppy. Or however you work that out. It's one of those things that is very, very difficult. That's why, the whole notion of kids and object permanence, the whole peekaboo thing. You've heard this a million times, Piaget. That when you have this thing and you go, so wait a minute, you're back? No, I'm not back. I was here. You're here? I never left. I was here. Object permanence. So, but then you're going to say, well, he's not here, but his memory is here. Kids don't understand that. Kids, and you know what's something funny about kids too? Oh, your son is 10 now. Good. Well, you know what? I hope if you make sure that if you find romance again or love again, if there's another man, make sure that you make it very, very clear, very, very clear that the next whatever always says, I'm not going to replace your father. I'm not going to replace your father. And always speak of your father. Have him say very, very good things. Tell me about your father. People love to do that. Erika looked very happy at Don Jr.'s wedding over this weekend. Yeah. What about that one? What do you think? First of all, what's that all about? What do you think Kimberly Guilfoyle's thinking? Never, at least she got a ring, but never got anything, no, in the engagement. She's the ambassador to Greece. Then Kai's mother, who's with Tiger Woods. And then there's this one, this Bettina. Listen, far be it from me to speak about who's what and who might be a great wedding, but everything to me seems so bloody phony and pretend. And look, but you know who, by the way, of the Trump family, you know who's good? You know who's good? Laura, or Lara. Her name is Lara. It's Lara, but they call her Laura. Lara, married to Eric, very stable. They seem to be happy. One time. She is what she is. I don't know anything about it, but she seems to be. I like that stable thing. I kind of like that. I like that. I don't know. It's just it's such a rarity because you don't know what's going to happen today. And Eric, I think, by the way, of all the Trump kids, he seems to be the most with it, seems to be the smartest, and the most what the hell do I know? But I'm saying and I'm usually right about this, but it's one of those things. I don't know about that. Is Russell Brand going for president? Do you think that Russell Brand is really the Christian he claims to be? I'm just saying. Texas Beach Girl said, "Oh, you changed your name." Said, "I hate the fact that Erika Kirk tells her daughter that daddy is on a trip. Her daughter is going to be looking for him to come home." Yes, absolutely. Don't do that. Don't euphemize death. Don't be cutesy about it. No, he's not coming home. You're not going to see him until you're dead or until you go to heaven or whatever it is. Just tell them the truth. They'll adapt, but don't cause problems by trying to soft soap it. Say what it is. There was one time I saw this. There was a special on doctors who learn how to tell patients that they have terminal disease and they have 6 months to live or whatever it is. And these young doctor recruit types were sitting there and they're saying, "Well, you see, and this was kind of play acting, so to speak, but they were saying, and then the experienced doctor said, "Let me do this." So watch him, I do it. "Mrs. Johnson, yes, you have cancer, and it's stage 4, and you have, at best, 6 weeks to live. It is important for you to get your affairs in order and make sure you talk to your family members. We will do everything we can to keep your final days as pain-free as possible with palliatives, maybe hospice care, but this is exactly what it is." Boom. That's what you tell them. Now, you might want to work on the delivery, but people will thank you for this. Tell me what I should expect. That simple. It's and kids and death. And you know what's interesting? When you watch a kid sometimes, you ever see when they look and they're thinking, or they're doing something and you think they're not paying attention. They're drawing something or they're playing with something or they're watching something. And all of a sudden they'll say, "Can Daddy see us?" I said, "Oh, they're thinking about this constantly." They have this, their mind is always working, but it doesn't look like it. And always, always, always tell children, "Why do you ask? Why do you ask? Why do you ask? What's the real worry? What's the real thing you're concerned about?" Sometimes they don't really ask that. They ask, why do you ask? That's a good question. It's very interesting. By the way, easier said than done. Oh, easy. When it's not you, it's easy. Easy. You can just, it's the way you do it. You do it like this. The kids understand. Not always. Not always. It's something that it is so. This is where sometimes we're being a real psychopath, impressed because you know why? Because you don't feel. The head and the heart are disconnected. There's no. You might feel the selfish loss, but sometimes these feeling a real psychopath, a real honest to God one. They're very rare. I mean, it's that part that's disconnected. In any event, dear friend, it's been an hour and a half. I want to thank you. This is one of the most, I don't want to say enjoyable, that sounds weird, but one of the most meaningful discussions we've had, and I thank you for that. I appreciate it. And thank you for spending time. Somebody called me before, or not, email, he goes, "Can you do it at like 9:30? Barron's on." I said, "I know Barron's on, and he's a good man. And if you watch, I understand completely. I just don't want to wait till 9:30. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that." Jackie M. Ward says, "My husband of 41 years has been gone 7 years, still hard." Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course it is. How is it not? How is it not? Texas Beach Girl says, "My father died when I was 13. I knew he was sick, but no one told me he was dying. I was so angry and hurt because I was blindsided." Absolutely. Absolutely. What about this? What about sometimes people who don't tell others that they're sick? Like the doctors will not, I think this is a rarity, but I swear I've heard it, where the person didn't know, they didn't tell them you were sick. What? What? See, I think a lot can be done. And you know what's also great? You know what's also terrific? Because of videos and YouTube and so many things. I mean, wouldn't you love to have a picture of you and your grandfather on a camera now? Wouldn't that be something to sit there and you can see him? See, no, but nobody thinks about this. But what if you knew you were sick and you said, listen, I want to make sure you hear this ahead of time? And be very, very, very open about it. Very, very open. Kids, by the way, kids can learn. They're more resilient than anything you can imagine. But you can always say, I want you always to have this. Remember, no matter where I am. Did you ever read the beautiful letter by Sullivan Ballou from Civil War, when he was, the night before he died, he wrote this note to his wife. He says, "Oh, Sarah," he says, I'm paraphrasing so poorly, if you feel the wind past your temple or the breeze, it is my spirit passing by, for I will always be with you. Oh, it's riveting. Oh my God, it's riveting. Have you ever heard Time by Alan Parsons? And there's a great song by who is it? Carla Bonoff, called, I'm trying to think. Oh, Goodbye, My Friend. Beautiful. You know what? It's sad, but it's beautiful. Because in order for you to understand the song, you have to have the ability to appreciate something that great. You have to be able to appreciate the loss and to appreciate love. You can't understand this. You can't understand the sorrow unless you're sentient enough to understand the underlying feeling. Anyway, it's beautiful. And with that, my friends, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I wish you great day, great Sunday. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your wonderful contributions. Hope you didn't miss Baron. I understand. I didn't have any deep dives. I didn't have any ballistics or anything like that. I just had little old me and my thoughts, my philosophies, as your granddaddy, as your abuelo, as your nonno. In any event, have a great and glorious day. We'll see you tomorrow, my friends. And remember, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. It means so much to us. We appreciate this so much. You're so kind. Subscribe to her channels. She's got some great stuff coming up. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, my friends, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.